AI.
Hey, I'm Obi. That's Ed. And we are drinking from the Garden Host, your favorite podcast. Find us wherever you get your podcasts, be it Apple, Google, something that I'm going to say is no longer around, Spotify. We're there. Like us, follow us, subscribe. You can download and always give us feedback. We love your feedback. Ed, how are you?
I'm doing well. What happened to Spotify? You said it's no longer around? Did I miss something?
No. Spotify definitely exists. You told me somebody else was no longer around. I don't remember who.
Google Podcasts are going away.
Google Podcasts are going away. Not a good thing for Google Podcast listeners, but we're on Spotify and we're on Apple. So go there, download us. We're even on YouTube if you're interested. So you can find us on YouTube. Just be verbal. We look too old to put our faces up on Google, on YouTube, I mean. So, and by the way, this episode is brought to you by this quote I saw. If you told me that Dolly Parton and Beyonce both recently released music and one was country and one was a Pitbull collab, I would have guessed very wrong on whose song was whose. So that's going on in the world right now. And with that as a backdrop, Ed, you went someplace that was as redneck country as you can get this weekend. How was Florida?
Well, first off, you talked about Pitbull collab with Dolly Parton, and Pitbull was supposed to perform at the Daytona 500, but the rain screwed everything up, and I never got to see Pitbull. So I was a little pissed off because I wanted to see him in the heart of redneck country. But other than that, Obi, it was an experience going to the NASCAR Daytona 500. So partly because it freaking rained. It rained all day Saturday, all day Sunday. So no racing Saturday, no racing Sunday. They moved everything to Monday for a doubleheader. And then I had a flight out. So I only got to see 23 laps, but I got to see the pregame. I got to be in the stadium, got to see the start. So I think I have a pretty good idea of the culture. And let me just tell you, I was a fish out of water.
Where are you now? Now, we should note that you were with your brother, our amazing, and his nephew, your nephew and your nephew who is our amazing special guest every now and again, and your brother who was also a guest on our Christmas lighting episode. But how fish out of water with you, with your own family?
Well, so it's two nephews, both huge race fans, 12 years old, love the races. My brother is obviously loves them because he goes to like 3 NASCAR races a year. So they pulled the camper down. They were down there for a week. I flew down there, spent 3 nights, 2 of them rain soaked. And that part was good. I enjoyed hanging out with them. But the camping part, camping and rain just don't mix because you can't even hang outside. It's like soaking wet. The ground had puddles. Your feet get wet as soon as you step outside. The inside is small. I don't know. I'm a hotel type of guy. But Obi, here's the thing. I'm not sure which was more of a culture shock for me. The camping and the NASCAR piece, or when I went to Bass Pro Shops. Because there's a Bass Pro Shops down there. And let me tell you, that was a different world walking into that store.
Really?
Have you ever been in? Have you ever been in? Have you ever been in a Bass?
I have been to a Bass Pro Shop. Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think I don't know if Daytona has one of those super giant ones where you can actually fish in the store, but it is definitely not blue state safe in a Bass Pro Shop.
I gotta think this was a normal Bass Pro Shop. I mean, there was an aquarium in there that had fish that were like huge, 3 feet long.
Huge,
and there was a
fish.
dive. Yeah. And there was a diver in there cleaning it, right? But I'm sure it was the same size Bass Pro Shop they all are, right? But maybe because it was race week, it was like Bass Pro Shops on steroids. I'm just telling you, I could not relate to anybody else in that store. I just couldn't do it.
Okay, well, I guess I'm a little better off than you are at the Bass Pro Shop. I granted I have some camping life in me, and I used to try to fish. I had a friend who was a very, very, very good fisherman. So I had some connection to fishing. Um, I don't, they have their weapons section there for sure. Walked through there, seeing what that's all about. The camper section is outside at the one I go. I go to the one in Atlantic City. So I mean, yeah, it's certainly not. It's not eastern, northeastern cosmopolitan for sure, but I don't feel completely fished out of the water. I'm sorry that you do. That not one
Yeah,
of those New York State attributes that Bass Pro Shop specializes in stuck with you throughout your life. Rutgers did a
yeah,
number on you.
not a lot of well, not a lot of metrosexuals walking through Bass Pro Shop, if you know what I'm saying. So
Yeah,
I felt out of place.
yeah. Like I said,
You know, I got eye cream. I use eye cream. I don't think anybody else in that store was using eye cream.
They may
You know what I'm
have
saying?
been. Well, no, because they might want that very smooth eye, so they when they line up their shot on their eyepiece, it fits in good. I don't know what I'm talking about at all, but I'm just saying, eye cream's possible. You don't know. Got to look good when you
But
win the fishing championship.
yeah, well, maybe. But so I felt out of place there. But interestingly enough, when I was on the infield of the race before the pre-race party, I had a fan zone ticket because I was told to buy it. So I was down. I was on pit row. I was on. If you watch the Daytona 500, there's grass right by the start finish line. I was standing on that grass. I actually stood on the start finish line. I was sat on the track right at the start finish line while the introductions of the drivers. So I thought that was a pretty cool experience. And in that experience, eerily enough, I did not feel like a fish out of water there. I'm telling you, I felt more uncomfortable at the Bass Pro Shop than I did at the race. I'm not sure why that is. Um, but that is the situation. So I don't have any crazy stories about the Daytona 500 other than the only way I'm going back is if you promise me it's not going to rain. It's got to be guaranteed no rain.
Okay. I mean, I've been to one of the races your brother frequents. I've been to the Pocono. I think it's 400. I don't think it's a full 500 miles. Um, and I did not get the full infield experience. I was on the stand on turn three. It's a triangle there. It's not an oval. And you're right. It wasn't as fish out of water as I expected to be. We were there with my whole family for the day. We were at the actual race. I think there was a pre-race that we caught the end of as we got there. But what I missed was is my kids, the kids who we were all with, they went roaming through the shopping area and they found a bull, and one of them tried to ride the mechanical bull. So I missed my niece, I think it was, but it could have been my son getting thrown off the bull, which I think would have been fun to
But
watch.
my brother did do a redneck thing.
Okay.
Um, my brother bought a grill there,
He brought the
and he's
grill.
having it shipped over.
Okay. Okay.
He bought a Pit Boss grill, so that it's a wood pellet fire, fueled
Yeah, yeah,
grill.
yeah. Pit
Pretty
boss.
cool grills.
Yeah, yeah. Pit boss is a nice grill. I still prefer charcoal grills. I have a chimney uh, grill as opposed to a pilot grill. But okay, yeah, but smoking meat is just something you do when you're old. It's not necessarily just for rednecks anymore. I have the nice master built, and I enjoy cooking. Yeah.
Well, I'm not saying smoking's just for rednecks, but I think it's interesting that you prefer to buy your grills at a redneck event. You know what I'm saying? Like instead of just going to the normal store.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can get that at both Home Depot and Lowe's. I know for a fact you can. So you are right. That was an
But
interesting place to purchase it. But you know what? Ed? This goes back to our conversation, which may or may not got cut from our last show, about when you're on vacation, things cost a lot less. So that same grill that he saw while he was on vacation, he was like, "Yeah, I can buy that." When he walked to the Home Depot next week, he's like, "That's expensive. Who wants that?"
Well, I think the other thing happened. I think two things happened. One, there was this big Texan in a cowboy hat selling them, and he was really excited about those Pit Boss grills. That's one. My brother may have found them sexy too. I'm not really sure. You'd have to ask him. The other part is that he had a whole week of cooking on the other grill that he had, and he realized it sucked. and he had upgrades. So that's why he got the new pit. So it's a mobile smoker grill. Pretty cool combo.
Mm-hmm.
He'll be able to use it on his next camping trips. So not a bad deal, but I thought that was kind of interesting that they give you the redneck. And the other redneck thing, and I shouldn't even say it's redneck, but it's kind of interesting. McDonald's was there because they're a sponsor, and they were giving away free lunch, not just free fries. They were giving away a cheeseburger and fries for free.
Oh,
You don't see that every day.
no, you do not. Free McDonald's, and that's got to be rough because when I went to the race in Pope, there are a lot of people trying to sell you food. If you're competing with free McDonald's, that could be rough. That could be rough. It's a
Yeah, yeah.
chicken
So I thought
side.
that was another interesting thing. Another interesting thing, free McDonald's. But other than that, it just rained a lot. Oh, the one other thing, camping, it's an interesting experience, but it was right next to the racetrack. So Friday night when I got in there, there was like the ARCA race was going on. You could hear it, vroom, and then you'd hear it a little bit like, vroom, and that race went on till 1:30 in the morning. So we were up late Friday night. The next morning, I just hear these jets firing up their engines. I'm like, what the hell is that? And it was the Thunderbirds. They were doing the flyover for the 500, so they had to practice. So they took off at like 8:40 in the morning, and they were doing like buzzing the campground. Felt like I was getting attacked. It's crazy, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, no, I bet it was. So that is cool, but we're gonna uh change here because you sent me some wonderful pictures from I think your CVS, but I'm not sure, some local pharmacy of the things that they lock up now and don't let people buy because people might be criminals. And you know, we all know you can't buy razors anymore without getting somebody. That's no big deal. But the thing that you sent me pictures of was condoms, which it's hard enough to buy a condom when you're a 16-year-old guy, uh, finally getting some for the first time, trying to do the right thing. And now you got to call over some 45-year-old person like, excuse me, can you get me some rubbers? How did you obviously sent it to me, so you thought some things about that.
Yeah, of course I thought about it. So I was waiting in line at the pharmacy, and I've noticed when I've gone into Walgreens, this was a CVS, by the way, but when I've gone into Walgreens to get allergy nose spray, like Flonase, that's locked up. I got to get somebody to come over and unlock the Flonase, and that just bothers me because there's never enough people working, and you got to wait extra time, and they come over, and I'm like, yeah, I'm the Flonase burglar. Good thing you got the locked up. You caught me today, but so that annoys me. But then I'm online at CVS, and just next to the pharmacy is the row with the condoms. And I looked over and I noticed they were all locked up. And the first thing that went through my head was, oh my God, I hated the fact that I had to like explain to somebody I wanted nasal spray. I'm gonna have somebody working at CVS to come over. Oh, can you unlock the magnums for me? I mean, that's just like, not to mention, I then have to go pay for it. And I immediately went back to my teenage self. I'm like, I couldn't even, oh my God, how nervous I was. And so I had to take a picture. It was amazing.
Yeah, yeah, it is. I get angered by the razors. The razors are locked up now. Um, but there is something about, and for those, this picture might just make it on to one of us when we share it, because this is more than just condoms in this picture that you sent me. This is also apparently your CVS sells condoms and sex toys. Like these are full on sex toys that are locked up. And yes, if I am in the CVS and I am 16 years old, I may just be like, I'm not going to buy that, but I am going to take it because that's, there's a special store where you go and you feel safe when you buy the, as it's called here, the oral stroker or the buzzy butt. These are what you sent me pictures of.
Yeah, so Obi, so I could understand, yeah, somebody stealing those, right? I can't understand somebody stealing the condoms, but I don't know, maybe times are tough. But as I didn't, first of all, in full disclosure, I didn't even know those things were in that case. I just saw the condoms and took the picture. It was after I got home And I realized the picture was so far away, you had to zoom in anyway so for anybody to know what the hell it was. And then when I zoomed in, I was like, wow, that's some other interesting stuff in there. So then but to extrapolate that out, we just talked about being embarrassed to buy condoms. Can you imagine I mean, that's one thing. But the next level is to say, hey, I need help on aisle 9. Oh, what can I help you with, ma'am? I want
The buzzy
insert
butt.
name, right? They had some cool names. You said the Buzzy Butt and the other one. Uh, there was others there as well. And that is got to be terrifying. So imagine this. You're like a 30-year-old female, 20, it doesn't even matter, 40-year-old female, 20-year-old female. And the 16-year-old stock boy is the guy that comes over and unlocks it for you. I mean, that's got to be the most mortified thing that you're going to do, right?
I think so. For everybody involved. For everybody involved. Here's the other thing. I'm going to go back to the condoms being locked up. When we were in college, twice a year on the fraternity, we had to have like presentations. And at these presentations, when they would teach us not to rape, they threw condoms at us. Like they're like, and don't get anyone pregnant. Like I want condoms to be free for people. Like this is one of the things I'm like, here, people need these. It should be as unembarrassing and as easy to get as possible, like it was for us in college. And now I got to deal with a stock boy or girl. I got to then ring it up. Well, I guess you know what? You don't have to. You probably can ring it self. You should probably self check out because there's nobody who works at the store. There's only people unlocking cases and letting you take the condoms out of the case. They aren't going to ring you up. So it's only one embarrassing transaction. So your card doesn't work. You're like that son.
Okay, that's good. Or if you don't have a credit card because you're 16 years old and it's cash only, right? And you can't pay cash, so you got to go to the register. But think about this. Now that my kids are older, their friends work at these places. You go there and you get your kid's friend to come on and unlock the cabinet for you. Hey, Mr. Obi, how you doing? Oh, I guess you're gonna be doing better tonight. I mean, just think about it.
Oh right, yeah. There's nothing I want more than the oral stroker. My wife's away. Yeah, you're right. That is it. That is great.
Well, we Obi, in full disclosure, we're not so sure you'd want to buy that while your wife's away. We really don't know what that machine is.
This is true. This is true.
I think you're making an assumption.
And now you're at
I'm not sure what it is. I didn't, like I said, I had to zoom in on the photo. I didn't get that close.
So now what you're saying is now I have to go to the store, look at the package.
I don't even walk down that aisle anymore.
I don't want it, put it back. I mean, by the way, you can get all this stuff on Amazon without any of the embarrassment.
I mean, or do you? Well, that's true. But Obi, do you think you ask for advice? Like when you go to a restaurant, you say, "Oh, which cocktail would you prefer?" Or which dish is best, right? So when you go there, you're like, "Hey, I can't decide between these two. What do you think?" Like, is that why they're locked up? Like you go to Best Buy, the headphones are locked up. I get that, right? I get it.
Well, if you go to the shops that you use, the shops that I would go to get this kind of stuff when I was youthful, or I would still go to now, you can ask for advice because there are people there who are knowledgeable. But I don't know if I want to ask the CVS people who's 16 years old and hanging out with my son. Which do you prefer? I don't want to know if they know. So I don't even know why some of this stuff is at the CVS.
Obi, I think you just showed. I just showed you. Think you showed your youthful ignorance. You think the places you bought these things, the people actually knew something about? I don't think so. They worked there for a reason.
Yeah, they know about this stuff. They hear things.
Oh, no. They hear things. They just know maybe they know what the best sellers are. I'm not so sure they used them.
Well, the best sellers are a thing to
I'm
know.
assuming you. That's true, but I just question what neighborhood you were buying them in, what time of day. I don't know. I have a lot of questions for you, Obi, that are probably not best answered on this podcast.
Okay. All right. Well, after you use these toys, uh, if you use them with your partner and you don't use the condoms, you may end up with being a parent. And one of the things that you said you might want to discuss on our next podcast, and here we are, is some feedback we were getting from Mr. Z. He knows who he is if he's listening. He's become a frequent listener. He's not older than you or I, but he is old to be a first time parent, and he was commenting on, maybe I have some insight because I'm a first time parent, and I know you were like, we should talk about that. So, do you recall that conversation? And would you like to comment on older parents thinking that extra experience they had being single is and being up in the years is going to help them be a better parent or deal with questions better?
Yeah, so well, my feedback on that wasn't even that you're an older parent. It's just any parent who has young kids today. Like, so it doesn't matter how old you are, but if your kids are like not in elementary school yet or just in elementary school, and you hear about the struggles that maybe a parent has in parenting their teenager or their college student, it just always strikes me that these parents with younger kids have all the answers, right? They sit there and like, oh, that will never happen to my kid, because I'll know better. And it's funny to me because I felt the same way. And you're wrong. That's at the end of the day, you're wrong. And you're going to find out that we all have the same struggles and nobody has the secret sauce. We just don't tell you that we're struggling. So you think that you're better than us when you finally hear that we're struggling. But at the end of the day, nobody has all the answers. So I just find it hilarious when we get advice like that. Oh yeah, I'll do better.
I will actually go one
Like
step.
in particular, this advice. Okay, go
No,
ahead.
no, go with you in particular. I think that's probably better than where I was going to go.
Well, I was going to say in particular, this feedback was related to the last episode about my daughter not knowing how to do laundry and got the Tide Pod all screwed up and, didn't know how she was going to, the colors running together, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right. And the feedback was, well, I know my kids are young, but, hopefully by the time they go to college, I'll have taught them a thing or two. Yeah. Well, hopefully you will have. But, your point, Obi, was, yeah, maybe you'll have taught them that, but there's something else you're going to miss. Like you can't get it all. Like there's no way your kid is going to learn everything. So there's going to be these stories. So I just think it's funny that people think they're going to be able to teach their kid everything. So
So there's two takeaways to that. Number one might be that is something that when he heard was so important to him as a thing, he would be sure to have imparted that to his child. Like, this is an important lesson you should have. Where for you, it was not an important lesson for Sam to have. And there's going to be a lesson that you thought was incredibly important for Sam to have that he's not going to think it was important for his kid. And he's going to laugh that, oh, I never taught my kid that you had to, I don't know, flip the mattress and spin it around when you changed it. Like, because I've been changing the kid's sheet myself, like whatever it is. So yeah, there's going to be those things.
yeah.
The other thing I've learned.
got a perfect example for you, Obi.
Go ahead.
Well, tell me what you learned. No, tell me what you learned, and then I'll tell you my perfect example.
Oh, the other thing we'll try and get back to your example here, is that unless your kid is like within 4 years, one way or the other of the other parent's kids, things are changing. Like they don't totally change, and you can have some good advice or get some good advice. But those things, like my oldest, he got a cell phone when he went into 8th grade, and there were people like, wow, that's awfully young for a kid to get a cell phone. And I'm like, no, everybody going into 8th grade is getting the cell. Like, when they go to middle school in my town, that's when they get their cell phone. And my kid's not going to be the only one without a cell phone. It's not just peer pressure. Like the school and everyone expects them to get it. By the time my youngest was in 5th grade, the teacher's like, please make sure they either bring a cell phone or a a tablet to school. Doesn't have to be connected to the internet, to the cell tower. We just have apps that they need to use. And this was only in elementary school. And then somebody told me their elementary school kid needed a cell, and I hadn't had him. I was like, "You're crazy!" And they're 5 years apart. So the intervals of what is normal changes so quickly that you're like, "Ooh, well, be careful what advice you give because it could be a little dated."
Agreed. So this isn't the example I'll give you, but I'll give you the example about the skill. But first, about things changing. I was having a conversation with young, parents with young kids, and I shared that, my kids have Life 360 on their phone. If you don't know what that is, it's a tracking software. I know where my kids are at all times. Not because I'm watching them and paying attention. It's just in case something ever bad happened, right? And of course, the younger parents are like, "Oh, I would never do that. I can't believe you're tracking your kid." I'm like, okay. Come talk to me in 10 years. I guarantee you'll have that and something else even more diabolical on your kid's phone, right? So
Right.
I think that's a perfect example of things changing, right? Doesn't sound cool until it is, right? But here's the example of a skill that I thought was important and it paid off. First week of school, Sam was in a car that got a flat tire. Nobody in that car or the group of boys in the other car that was with them knew how to change a tire. Sam knew how to change a tire.
That is
So those kids might know how to do laundry.
but will they know how to change a tire? Will there have been some? No, and I will fess. I taught my kids how to change a tire. 1-800 AAA. Like, there you go. Yeah.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
So your point's well taken though. If something's important to you, you teach your kid. I just didn't teach my kid how to do laundry. It's easier for my wife to do their laundry than for me to teach them how to do it.
That's right. For everyone who doesn't know, he looked to make sure she didn't hear.
Facts.
He just, but those are the facts.
I did. And then I was wondering, then I remembered she doesn't listen to this podcast anyway, so I could say it.
Yeah. Well, we heard my son was listening to this podcast and found our conversation about the sex toys interesting. It came in a few times. So I guess that means that your wife thinks we suck. The charm is that we suck. I'm Obi. That said, see you next time on Drinking from the Garden.